Thanks for sticking and staying on the Ghanaian Farmer channel. This is Ghana's finest farmer, and seated next to me is my brother. His name is Alex Afari, but in the industry, he's called
The pharmacist Alex.
Interesting. So today, Alex, I've had a couple of people reaching out to me and asking about, and what is the real difference between um, open field farming, open field modern farming versus greenhouse farming? What do you have to say about this?
Yes, so of course there are differences, and these ideas are not like novel to Ghanaians only, but they've been around for over 1,000 years. But it's now reaching us, so we call it modern farming, because majority of the farms in Ghana do rain-fed agriculture, which is very traditional, and I call myself crop nutrition agronomist
Okay.
because that's what I'm specializing in. So when it comes to greenhouse farming, there was a time in Ghana where the industry collapsed because of knowledge gap. But myself and my company, the pharmacists, are now reviving greenhouses in Ghana and also introducing a modern way of doing farming in the open field. So that's it. So I'll touch on
Okay.
the differences between greenhouse and then modern open field farms that we are putting it.
Okay. So a lot of people are now preparing, putting resources together to go into farming. Now, when we mention these two types of farming, what is the difference and what is the cost benefit to each one that I might opt to do?
Okay, so before I start, I would say the pharmacist is a group of companies of different agronomists with different backgrounds. As I mentioned earlier, that I'm a crop nutritionist. Other members of the pharmacist are into different aspects of agronomy. And then when it comes to greenhouse farming, we have a lot of advantages like getting more yields in terms of comparison, about 3 times the open field yields. And in our traditional farming, it could be like 10 times the yields of traditional open field farm. So to put it simple, if you have 10 acres of open field to make maybe 10 tons, you will need like 1 acre of greenhouse to make that same 10 tons in that same period of cultivation. Greenhouse also offers more, efficiency in terms of water usage. So you are able to minimize the use of water by implementing sustainable agriculture. So at the end of the day, you wisely use or efficiently use water because we use drip irrigation, which is about 95 to 98% efficient. And you are also able to spoon feed a plant. In other words, you are able to do soilless production. So you are able to reduce the amount of water. I mean, you produce more food with less water, in simple put. And also, you are able to, with greenhouse farming, you are able to maximize space because no one is, making more of land. So now we have a lot of estate development agencies who are using a lot of our land for buildings. So we are not having more big lands. Like in Ghana, if someone will tell you that, oh, this year I was able to harvest more, it means that they've increased their land size. But in this case, people are no more getting land to expand their farms because of these estate developers. So we want to maximize our resources. So with smaller space, you're able to produce more.
More.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, greenhouse production, okay, is able to exclude rainfall, as I said earlier, so that you can save money on fertilizers if you want to get better output. It also presents you with more quality, okay, produce and higher, or longer shelf life of commodities, unlike the open field that we do. Because in this case, you are controlling the amount of nutrients that the plant will take at the end. Also, you are not doing blanket application of fertilization like broadcasting or band and all those things. Everything is based on calculation. So it's that efficient. You are also reducing the amount of pests infestation, thereby reducing the amount of pesticides that you use.
Okay.
So all these help in reducing cost and maximizing profits, and that's what agriculture is all about.
Okay.
Reducing cost and then
maximize
maximizing your
profit.
profit.
But then, looking at what you just explained, that these various or numerous benefits that comes with greenhouse farming, what then do the open field modern farming also come with?
So we are trying to push this idea that, okay, we can use all the technology in the greenhouse without the structure. So basically, greenhouse production is protective agriculture. So you are protecting your crops from rainfall, from excessive environmental temperatures or relative humidity or harsh conditions. So with greenhouse, you're able to do that. But in the open field, you don't have those structures. But there are some let me say technology that you can implement, like drip irrigation, even mulching, trellising, like staking with twines.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also implementing better crop protection protocols and fertigation protocols.
Okay.
So these are some of the technologies that we use in a greenhouse
That can be
used in the open field to maximize your yields.
Right.
So
Without the
structure
Okay.
itself.
Okay.
So this is what we call modern agriculture.
Okay. All right. Now let's look at cost, because for everything it comes, so it is associated with cost. Let's look at how much it would cost me to do 1 acre of the modern open field farming versus the greenhouse.
So for the greenhouses that we have in Ghana, majority of those ones don't even qualify to be greenhouses. They are just tunnels. So greenhouse, from let's say greenhouse walking tunnel to a sophisticated greenhouse, you could spend about $150 to $250 per acre, depending on the company you are dealing with. In the same way, you will spend about 1/10 of that in a modern greenhouse of an acre. And then the returns that you get, there's one thing that I didn't mention. For greenhouse, you're able to extend the growing cycle. So if you're supposed to produce pepper for like 3 months or 4 months, with greenhouse you can extend the production cycle to like a year. So that's an added advantage. So you are always harvesting. Unlike open field that you do maybe 3 months, you harvest all you have and then try to do land preparation and come back. A greenhouse, you have that flexibility of taking care of the crop for like a year, because we grow high valued crops like tomatoes. Tomato variety that we grow are the creeping ones that we call the indeterminate. So we can't determine the time that plant will die. And the same for pepper, indeterminate peppers. They keep on growing till you decide to take them out of the greenhouse. The same with cucumber, because it's creeping plant. The same with cantaloupe melons. The same with cherry tomatoes. So these are the high value crops that we do in the greenhouse. So with this technology like trellising, you can do some of these with high value crops even in the open field. But in terms of cost, as I said, you are doing 1/10. Do you get it? So if you are supposed to do 1 million Ghana cedis for an acre of greenhouse, you are doing 100,000 Ghana cedis for open field.
Okay, but you see the cost you mentioned, does that, because I need water, if I'm not close to the stream or river,
any water body,
I need to drill borehole. If the pH of the water is not good, I need to do treatment. Does that amount to the money you mentioned?
So this amount does not include land and water.
Okay.
So if you don't have water on site, you will have to drill a borehole.
Okay.
And there could be other extra costs that will come with the bore if you have high salinity or the mineral content in the water is too high. You have to do something called reverse osmosis. And the reverse osmosis also comes with a huge cost, about 40,000 to 60,000, depending on the tonnage that you want per every hour.
Yeah.
So water is very necessary, and in greenhouse we use enough water, a lot of water. That's why for some sophisticated systems, you are able to even recycle the water so that you can save on water. Because in this case, you are paying for water generation. Okay, so you want to recycle the water. But in case you don't have that system to do the recycling, means that every single day for an acre of greenhouse, you can use about 60,000 liters, which in short we say 60 cubic of water per day.
Okay.
So if you don't have that amount of water, then you have to downscale.
Okay.
So water is the first thing we actually, consider before you go into even the modern open field farms that we talk about, because we don't want to depend on rainfall.
Okay. So, in total, how much in reality are we looking at for the greenhouse, from water to treatment to the structure itself? In reality, how much are we looking? Because you've been doing this for a long time.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think you should have the figures at the tips of your finger. How much in reality is a potential farmer looking at spending?
So normally we don't. If you are a small investor, if you are not a big investor, you can do about 18,000 to 24,000 for 500 square meter greenhouse.
Okay.
And then if you are thinking big or dreaming big and you have the money, you can do about $200,000 for an acre.
Okay. Okay.
And this can also take care of some input and also paying workers for like 3 months before you start making money from the farm.
Right. And the modern open field one, how much am I averagely?
Yes, so if you don't have water, you have to budget around 150,000 Ghana cedis to set up an acre, which will include the plastic mulch, the land preparation, the inputs, the trellising accessories or materials, polytank, including your cost of setting everything up.
I heard you saying that with a greenhouse, you can maintain the plant so long as you're giving the right nutrients. You can keep harvesting for the next 24
a year.
For the next 12 months. How about the modern open field?
So modern open field, you are also able to extend the growing cycle.
Okay.
But normally, maybe you will start your production in the dry season, and then extend the crop production cycle to like the rainy season.
Okay.
Where you think that farmers are going to produce and then flood the market with commodity. Then you end your cycle and then prepare the land again for the next dry season.
Okay. Now, in that case, how much or how many months am I hoping to start recouping this investment? I am more inclined to the modern open field because I don't have the money for greenhouse.
So now this is what we are pushing now as the pharmacists. Okay, this is what we are pushing now, and we have a lot of business case around this because we've been doing this for other clients for a long time. We have clients who invest like 100,000 Ghana cedis and they're able to make about 400 to let me say 350 to 400,000 Ghana cedis after 6 months of production. So you plant from day one, it takes 3 months for the crops to start, producing like peppers or tomatoes, and then you harvest for the next 3 months to make that amount of money because of high prices of those commodities. And normally we target producing in the dry season because that's the time majority of the Ghanaian farmers are out of business because they are rain-fed farmers. So we are being smart about when to produce, how we produce it, and then where we produce it.
Okay.
So that is the smart way of we making money from modern agriculture or modern open field farms. And this is what we are seeing. We are actually seeing the numbers, and every time we are doing research and experiment to increase production or productivity. And then with a small space, you're able to get maybe per plant you can get from 3 to 5 kg in a very short time.
Okay, so let's use the half acre for the modern open field versus the greenhouse. If I'm practicing these two systems, averagely, what tons of this thing will I be harvesting? Is it every month?
How much you can harvest per month? So our yield can actually be estimated in different ways.
Okay.
So you can do quantity per plant, kg per plant per the cycle. You can do quantities per area, which is kg per square meters or square feet, whatever. And then you can also do other forms of estimating, your yield. But normally we prefer to do per plant because the seeds that we buy them from Holland Green Tech, that supplies us with Rex 1 seeds. And these seeds, we buy them in counts.
Okay.
So one seed can cost like 1 CD. So you want to make sure that that's 1 CD will actually produce something for you to make money from that. So every single plant, kind of a precision kind of farming. Every single plant is very important. That's why we estimate our yields per plant.
Okay.
So you can get on average, if you have half an acre, you have like 4,000 plants or 5,000 plants.
Yeah.
So if you are getting even 1 kg per plant per cycle, that's 5 tons.
Okay.
So 1 ton you can make for hot habanero pepper. 1 ton is 35,000. So 35,000. If you made 5 tons, that's 35,000 Ghana cedis times 5. That's the amount of money you can make on half an acre.
Okay.
So it's very
So
lucrative.
it means that, is this 35,000 every weekly or every month?
So every week, if you are harvesting,
Yes.
it is continuous for like 10 weeks or sometimes 6 weeks. You do once the plant starts ripening. Every week, sometimes you can do, if the yield is too much or if you achieve your expected yield, you can do twice a week.
Okay.
So every week you are getting like 300, 400,
Okay.
500 kg.
Yes.
You can do that. If it's 1 acre, you can do a ton per week.
Okay.
So if it's half, you are doing 500 per week.
Okay.
You get it.
Now, is there market availability for all this? Because you mentioned cucumber, habanero, you mentioned tomatoes,
Yes.
and other things. Are there market for this? Because you don't expect me to invest this huge amount of $24,000 something dollars in a greenhouse and 1/3 of that into an open modern field farming, and I might not be getting buyers. Is there market for this?
So we normally start our production research from market.
Okay.
So before we even produce, we know who is going to buy or who is going to offtake. And this is because in Ghana, we don't consistently produce.
Okay.
So you always have market women traveling afar to buy commodities from Togo, Benin, Burkina, So once you meet these market women and the produce is closer to them, they bring their own vans to carry the commodities. So our recent production, we had market women, more than 20 of them, coming to fight over the commodities. So this is how big and how lucrative the market is when it comes to the produce that we actually cultivate in Ghana. Like, they are high valued crops. So something like habanero peppers, every single week people were asking for like 5 tons. And these sales only went to one market, Medina market. So in 5 months, we're able to sell about 10 tons of peppers to only Medina market.
Okay.
How many markets do we have in Ghana?
A lot. Kaneshie, Agbogbolos,
Yes.
Makola,
Yes.
Kasua.
All
Ashiama.
these markets didn't even benefit from our production. So this shows you that there's a huge market for quality produce.
Okay. The word is
Quality produce.
thank you very much. Do you do the farming yourself, or you are just going about setting up farms for people? Do you do the farm yourself?
So the pharmacists, we are into farming ourselves, and we use our farms as experimental farms because we consult for people. We offer agronomic assistance.
Okay.
So if we don't know what we are about, we can't give good information and then
client.
People to benefit from our knowledge. So we have to actually go into the farming ourselves, see the challenges, try different variety of seeds, know which seeds actually thrive in our condition, and then recommend to our clients.
Okay, so among these three, the greenhouse, the modern open field versus the traditional farming, which one of them are you doing on your land?
So we do both because we have partners. We have partners and
both are saying
we have partners in both open field production and then greenhouse production. So we are into both.
Okay.
But because of high cost of greenhouses, we are pushing this open field so that people who also have limited resources can venture into the modern, farming to make some means of making money from farming.
Okay. Beyond the farming which you do, how much do you charge for your consultation averagely?
So we normally do projections, with the minimum expected yields and charge about 15 to 25% on revenue.
What do you mean? You want to take money from my profits?
Yes.
Why? Let me pay you off. Which one?
Yes.
You want to take
Yes. So
25%
so
of my...
depending on your project.
Yes.
Okay, and depending on how much money you have available,
Yes.
if you can pay us, because the services that we are rendering, right? So for services,
Yes.
we don't work before we get the pay.
Okay.
You pay a percentage for us to render you the service.
Yes.
And then once we finish with that service,
Yes.
you pay the rest.
Yes.
So
some
clients
Yes.
want to pay that percentage. Okay.
Yes.
And then some clients want to pay, okay, every month we want to charge, if you are doing 1 acre farm,
Yes.
we want to charge you maybe 5,000 Ghana cedis per month for 6 months. So you pay 70% of that accumulation. So
Yes.
like 30,000 Ghana cedis
Yes.
per acre.
Yes.
You pay 70% of that before we start engagement.
Okay.
Do you get it? And
Why are you staying with me for 6 months? Are you not supposed to come and render the service once and then go away?
so this is the problem.
Okay.
A lot of the farms that we just gave them protocols could not sustain themselves. So we want to do like practicals with you, train you with your own project. By the time we are done with the training, you have that experience, because agriculture is not theoretical.
Okay.
Agriculture is practical.
Right.
So we have to be with you with all the practical knowledge.
Okay.
For you to imbibe, so that when we leave, it will not be as
continue.
if we've come to rip you off.
Oh, okay.
So we want to train you,
Okay.
become conversant,
Yes.
accustomed with all the practices.
Yes.
Then you only need 3 months, but we also give you additional 3 months to practice it, and then we be with you, do weekly or by, depending on the agreement we have, we do that visit and then make sure that you are implementing the protocols in a way that we want them to be implemented.
Okay. So if I understand you again, it means that if I'm doing an open field modern farming on 1 acre, or let's say on 5 acres, and you're going to stay with me for the next 3 to 6 months, averagely, I'm expected to pay like 5,000 and above Ghana cedi every month.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Because at the end of the day, this is peanuts. Because we can decide to only be on our farm to make all these numbers.
Yeah.
But why are we even going about helping people? We are all contributing to food security, in the country. That's why we are doing this.
All right.
Else we can say, oh, farming is lucrative. Why should we go about helping people?
others.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you are making like 300 Ghana cedis in 6 months, and you are giving us 30,000, that's peanuts. We are not charging. So people, like bigger contracts, we charge on percentage.
Okay.
Do you get it?
All right. So last question before we wrap it up. Are there any red flags that I need to look out for, around this system that you've mentioned? For the traditional farming, we know already. But for the open field, modern farming versus the greenhouse farming, are there any red flags that I have to be looking out for?
Yeah, sure.
Well?
Feasibility is very necessary.
Okay.
So wherever you want to situate your farm, you have to come and do assessments.
Okay.
Without these assessments, you can fail, because we know the problem or the challenges that come with open field farming.
Okay.
If you don't choose the right location, you can, like someone will go and situate a farm, do all those things, and then later flood will come and then. So you can't even do your assessment sometimes in the dry season. You have to do your assessment in the rainy season to see where it floods, where the landlocked areas are, so that you situate your farm, so that you mitigate these challenges. I must tell you, sometimes you have spontaneous eruption of pests that you are there and then you have huge pest infestation. So we are doing this to, doing this assessment to mitigate all these challenges. I wouldn't say challenges will not come, but farming is not an event.
Okay.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
So once you learn, and then quitters never win.
No.
So once you do it, and then you have this skill, you can always, it becomes part of you, and you can always use this knowledge to turn your production around.
Okay.
And this farming that you are doing, one successful production takes care of all your costs.
So you're telling me that a lot of people have this notion that I will make my profit overnight. It's not that.
No.
It
Well,
takes
no,
time.
and normally we are like, we have a higher success rate
Okay.
of about, let me say, 90%. It means that we've had 10% losses somewhere.
Okay.
So it's not 100% that
Alright.
you get to the pharmacist, we give you, but once we are with you, you will never fail, because we always try to solve problems and we always want you to find challenges while we are there, so that once you see these challenges come up and see how we solve them, it also becomes part of your knowledge.
Yeah, that's it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get some visuals of all these farms that he's mentioned, that he's setting up for others, for you to see. I'll add it to the video so you see. But lastly, there is this debate about whether or not selling domestic market versus exporting, which one is better? Which one that brings you more money?
For me, if it's not indigenous crops or some potatoes, I'm not enthused about export, because the local prices are higher.
Sure?
You won't go
Export, I'll get dollars. So.
Yeah, you get dollars, but what commodity are you selling outside? We are doing high valued crops in Ghana, which we import. So where are you importing them to? Where are you exporting them to? Okay, so if you are doing hot habanero pepper, people want to pay like 45 cedis, 50 cedis for a kilo. The person coming to buy from you to sell, how much are they going to offer you? Unless you are selling it outside yourself, and you are going to definitely get the same price as you sell them here. And the challenges you also go through, or the certification that you go through before you export, is kind of tedious.
Yeah, I know, right?
So if the market is here, why do you even bother? If you are doing something like okra, I encourage you to export in the wet season. But in the dry season, they sell like 3 fingers for 3 pieces, like 5. So the market here is lucrative.
All right. Okay. So that's it. The market here is lucrative. For those of you who have been saying, I want to do export. Look, exports comes with a lot of requirements. The FDA, the Standard Authority, the PPRSD, there are a lot of organizations you have to go through to get certificates. Even the international market, you won't send the produce, they also have their requirements. You need to get all this before you can go in export. I think that one of these days, I will bring you that detailed conversation about domestic marketing versus export marketing, so that you would make a choice whether you want to sell here or sell out there. But this has been an insightful conversation all the way from Dakar, Senegal. I'm so happy I have been here, even though because of our training, we didn't make much time to go out. But we had a little bit of fun, and you see that on the channel. But from Enyonam, the Ghanaian farmer, finest farmer in Ghana, versus my brother, Alex.
The pharmacist Alex. I'm also trying to build my YouTube, so go and look for the pharmacist group.
Amateur YouTuber.
And then subscribe.
Exactly.
We are coming to upload a lot of educative contents, like what A&M is doing, and then ours wouldn't be interviews, but lessons in the farms.
All right.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Enjoy your day wherever you find yourself.